mentioned in one of the previous sessions that nishkam karam do not get make a sanskar or probably do not go on ahamkar. Uh, and so my question was, then how do they, help for the next birth if they are not the part of sanskar, only the regular karmas are the part of a ahamkar. Then how does it work? Nishkam karm and regular karm for the next birth, let's say, to provide you the the karm phal.
I remember the context was moksha probably,
Hmm.
and then I mentioned moksha is not a karmfal. This has to be earned in a different manner. And then we discussed a lot of things about law of karma and how one is functioning outside the bound of the law of karma to attain moksha probably.
Hmm.
Things like that. It's a lengthy and complex issue.
Hmm.
Let me see. I would probably I have readily this Sankhya diagram because
Hmm.
then that may help me.
Hmm.
Okay. This business of karma is a very elaborate philosophy in the Vedic philosophy. So let me first put the question that I am looking at the question in my own manner. The question is, from the karma point of view, the common man performs certain karma with a reward in mind. So almost everybody in the world has an idea that there is something like a law of karma. You reap what you sow, something like that. Almost everybody believes in this kind of a thing. Now, if now the precise question is the moksha, the liberation from the cycle of birth, is it a reward from the law of karma point of view? If it is not so, then why is it not so, and how does one attain it? So that I will say is the way I am phrasing the question.
Mhm.
So I will invite your attention. The word sanskar has also come into from the questioner. So I will say sanskar is here,
Mhm.
and that includes my past knowledge, past experiences, and my past impressions of my karma.
Mhm.
Now, to make very briefly, this is me, the consciousness, also called as Purush in this philosophy of Sankhya and Yoga. This has three extraordinary powers, as it can be knower, and it can have experience of an event which gives rise to joy and pain, and also it can act also. Mm. It can influence the surroundings one way or another out of action. So incoming is knowledge, outgoing is action, and what the incoming knowledge is experienced by it, that is here. So to make it a short story, from five sensory organs, one at a time, the knowledge signal is picked up here, passed on here, this makes a copy and then projects it here. And this is called a buddhi, that has the discriminating ability. So it finally concludes what is coming to it. Is it a chair or a table? Every moment we are doing that. And in so doing, it is discriminating ability. Another thing it does is to the, this is the master, this is his closest secretary, so to say, prime minister, whatever you want to call it. Then it also concludes what is the right action to perform. That is another thing it does. So it is discriminatory ability for the knowledge, and also decision about a particular action is taken here. Now let's come back to the knowledge here. This knowledge is just knowledge, and Vyas uses a term called buddhi pati samvedi. Means this the way they have been, this joint is very peculiar, and that joint makes it happen. So otherwise this is like a crystal glass, they say. So this remains its same, nitya shuddha buddha mukt. But when a buddhi vritti, that is called buddhi vritti, appears on the buddhi, it has an reflection on that. It is mere reflection, it doesn't change the character of this thing. So that way it comes to know what it has in common. That is buddhi pati samvedi. It doesn't get affected by that buddhi signal. Now there is a very subtle point here. Now that buddhi vritti can be embraced by it, He takes it as it is happening to me. It's kind of he's attached to it. Like you are watching TV from a distance, you are just watching the news, you don't get affected by it. But sometimes you get affected by it. So that time we say buddhi vritti has become bhog vritti. So these are technical terms, but very important terms. So, but this is up to him. If he wants, he can remain detached. Otherwise, he is affected by all that is happening here. But this is a very big subtle difference. When it becomes affected, then he goes through sukh and dukh. Otherwise, there is no sukh and dukh here. It's just detached manner, he's just watching it. This is very important because law of karma gives rise to sukh and dukh. That's why I have to come to this point. So knowledge, the terminal point is here. Bhog, the terminal point is here, but that is up to you to let it happen or not. If you are a great yogi type of a person, you don't get attached to it, then this buddhi vritti doesn't become bhog vritti. So if you are a higher quality person, then that is, you have a different kind of life. You live in the world like others, but your way of life is very different, because this is the subtle point that is so important in the answer to this question. Now, just for sake of completeness, karma is a terminal point is here in the sense you decide the action here. But once the action is decided, it can be carried forward by this unit, So, Sankhya has a statement, ahankaro karta na purusha. So, like you are driving a car, you receive a phone call, now you are talking to your friend. So your buddhi is engaged here in discussion with your friend, but your car is driving. So this, because you are an expert driver, all the impressions of your driving skill are here. So this fellow takes over as if you have delegated this responsibility and he is driving the car. That's why there is a red arrow. Not going into intricacies of all this, but I'm just trying to give you a picture that knowledge ends here, bhog ends here, but that is your discretion. Karma gets triggered here. When you start your car engine, that happens here. But once the car starts moving and you have received the phone call, you are consciously here with the friend discussion, but your ahankar is driving the car. So these are very, very complex things happening. It's not that easy to describe all this in few minutes. But now let's come to the answer to this question. The question was, now you have to think in terms of three kinds of people in the world. There are three categories. Let's start with the average people. Average people are nice, good human beings. They work and they are aware of law of karma. They work for the whole day and then they work in an office or business, whatever it is. They expect a reward at the end of the month, paycheck or some profit or things like that. Is it not?
Yes.
But they are very nice people, nice, decent people. They go by very fair game. They never violate the ethical code or moral code. Is it not?
Mhm.
So most of the, I will say, 50% Americans are like this. Is it not? Or maybe
Sure.
more.
Mhm.
In Norway, probably it would have been 70, 80%. Right? In Japan, maybe more, whatever it is.
Mhm.
So these are notional figures. I don't want to offend anybody, but just to convey my ideas properly, I'm giving you certain figures so you have an idea what I am talking about. Now, these are average good human beings. They never do any adharma. They always do dharma, righteous conduct. They believe in law of karma and they know it, their dharma, positive righteous conduct will bring good rewards for their family, their own survival, and they try their best to improve the quality of life, is it not?
Mhm.
As they see it, the quality of life. So this we'll call an average human being, is it not? They go by law of karma.
Mhm.
Now there is a downslide. They are inferior quality of people. They are also bound by the law of karma, but they don't overcome temptations of life and they are willing to forego the moral code of conduct for some quick gains, you know.
Mhm.
We are familiar with all this. So they may be cheating somebody, very short, very uh, tiny white collar crimes or big white collar crimes or even blue and black collar crimes, you know, all kind of criminals. So there is a wide shade and that will take care of bulk of the remaining population, is it not? Now these two, the second group, the downslide group, they they know there is law of karma, but they think they can get away from it. Or they think law of karma is nothing but the law of land. And they don't see that, they don't believe in the birth and death cycle. They don't believe that the ledger book carry forward will happen in the next life also. They just don't care next life. Who has seen the next life, is it not?
Mhm.
So they are like Asuya Namte Loka Tamasaveta. This is third mantra in the Yajurveda 40th chapter. Hmm?
Mhm.
So they are like that. They just see very time in tomorrow, next
That's true.
month, next year, things like that. And
Mhm.
they think the law of land, they can get away from it, so on and so forth. So they are downslide.
Mhm.
So, but in their back of mind, they know there is something like law is there. They may not have faith in law of karma, but they are aware of the law of the land. And law of land is nothing. Anything we have made is always in the image of, you know, Ishwar's design. So the reason I am using law of land is this is nothing but law of karma, but man-made. So it is not perfect, you know, whatever it is. I have set out the picture and two categories of people, and I have emphasized the term law of karma. Now, probably in one of these sessions, I have given you an example, a mother and child, and a mother asking her child, say 3 or 4 year child, she wants to train him. She wants him to become slightly responsible. She asks her child, can you go to your room and tidy it up? You know, and the boy is not so, is slightly lazy or whatever you call it, is not very interested in doing that. Then she says, okay, you go and do it, I will give you a candy. Then the child goes up into his room, does something and comes back, and he gets a reward of a candy. So this is also a good child by modern nomenclature. He did something with an eye on the reward, and he played a fair game. So he's like our average adult, so to say. But now there is a child, and it is easy to visualize him. There is another family where the mother asks him, can you go and tidy your room? Just put the things in the right place, the toys and books and all that. And he just goes there and does it and comes back and reports to his mother, yes, I have done that. Mother smiles, you are a good child, and gives some sort of appreciation, maybe a pat on his back or whatever it is. Now, just child number 2 didn't have an eye on any reward. He just did it. And if you ask him, why did he do it? He will just say, it was very natural for me. My mother asked and I did it. So he has a faith, from his perspective, he has a relationship with his mother. Even the first child loves his mother, but second child has a slightly upgraded relationship that, I should care for his words. I should give importance to her instruction. So something more than the child number 1, is it not? So he didn't do the work with an eye on reward, but he just did it because he reciprocates his love for his mother, is it not? So now that gives you an idea. There is a third category of human being who are, that's why we have all these discussions on Vedic philosophy. The whole idea of this and even meditation is, to link up with that force, that supreme consciousness, to understand. Now that is our supreme mother, and we are her child, is it not? And now look at meditation as an attempt to be with that mother. So meditation nowadays has become very, it's not a good word to use, but has become quite cheap thing, is it not? Everybody is talking about meditation. But we have a high level of sanctity with meditation because, as I said, Sushupti Samadhi Moksheshu Brahmarupta. So this is like being in a lap. So when I want to be in meditation, my objective is to be with that Supreme Mother. So one thing I have learned is to be with anybody else or with anything in the world, I have to go through the instrument of mind. But to be with her, that Supreme Mother, I must disconnect from mind. And when I wish to disconnect from mind, I want to go through meditation, calm my mind, then disengage, then I will be with her. So that's what I mentioned was Ananda Swarup and all that.
Mhm.
So, of course, a distant taste of that is in Sushupti, as if every night she takes me in her lap, but then she says that, I am available even in your daytime, provided you have some time for me, is it not? So that is what whole samadhi and meditation is all about. So this is we are talking about this third category of person. He is also aware of law of karma. Like child number 2 could demand a candy, is it not?
Mhm.
But he doesn't, he has his relationship with his mother at a very higher level where candy has no relevance, is it not? So
Mhm.
that is a different level of maturity. So we are now talking about a third category of person. We are aware of the law of karma, but yet we say that I don't want to be bound by these things. You know, I want to do what is expected from me by that Supreme Mother just because I love her. So out of my genuine love for my that Supreme Consciousness, that Ishwar, whatever I call her, I say, I want to do what is expected from me. is it not? So then it is the second mantra, ko vanneve karmani na karma lipyate naye. So na karma lipyate by naye means nishkam karma. I am not guided by the rewards of my karma. I am doing merely as her child, Aya Ishwa Putra. So I am too Aya because I am her child, is it not? So Yatha Pita Tatha Putra. I will not let her down. I am her child, and I am very conscious every moment that I am her ambassador, I am her representative in this world. Otherwise, if I do stupid things, people will say, this is what Ishwar child does, is it not? So, I have a very high level of responsibility. My conduct is, so law of karma is for very usual, this is a carrot and stick for normal human beings so that they are brought to the dharma. So law of karma is not quite a punishment. It is so that a common man is brought on the line. That's what, we have done so harm to ecology. Now, some people are eating even, cockroaches and lizards and snakes and bats and whatnot. And that has given rise to coronavirus and whatnot. So, so we do very stupid things. And then the consequences come, and then we sit and, okay, let's take corrective measures, is it not? So the humanity as a whole is now learning from trial and error because of the law of karma. But there is always that minuscule minority who are more mature, and that's what we should be. Otherwise, we are also like them. So we must have a higher quality of life, and otherwise, how can I be a teacher if my own quality of life is not better than others? Is it not? So if I am a meditation practitioner, I am not supposed to get angry. I am supposed to lead a very what is expected from that Supreme Mother's child, is it not? So that third category is something. Now coming to the precise answer to the question, how does one get moksha? So as I think I have previously remarked, we come into this bondage, this is the bondage, because of something is here. And that peculiar thing is called avidya, and that is klesh, and so on and so forth. Let's not go into that detail at this point, but that is the content in my mind. So that has led me to this whole game of worldly life. And if I am guided by the law of karma, then think the law of karma as a ledger book. So that is keep making some entries. So whenever I do a karma, I expect an reward. So that makes an entry. And then of course, to accept the reward, I must live to that, is it not? So that will do nothing but elongate my birth and death cycle, is it not? So I am just on the average man on that level field, is it not? So two aspects are there. If the ledger book keeps on filling, then I will always be born again and again. So the first condition is I must pick up that maturity that I don't go by law of karma, is it not? Then the ledger book doesn't get an ante, and he knows it best, as if what is my intention behind every karma. He knows it. So first thing is I have to stop new entries here. And now the question arises, how do I take care of the old entries, the avidya in particular, that is a particular klesh, and how do I get rid of that? Then I have told you that that doesn't happen due to the law of karma. So if I do good karma with good intention, it will bring good rewards. So first thing is I have to get out of it, and then that helps me. Even if I am a good doers, then only my meditation practices will be successful. If I am doing crooked karma, bad karma, then I am on the downslide, is it not? So
Mm.
at least I have to be average and then be more mature to the higher level person, and then that is all good life. But that is also not enough from liberation point of view. I have to practice deep states of meditation, because in those state of meditation, particularly what is called Nebij Samadhi,
Mm.
that bij, the seed that gave rise to all this, bondage, that will be burnt out. So when that is burnt out, then I am Jivan Mukta, so to say, and then that is the current life will be my last life. Then I
Mm.
won't be born again. So from karma point of view, I have to elevate beyond the law of karma, just like I gave the example of two children. So I have to become like that, but that is only one part. The second part is I have to learn meditation and practice what Patanjali is saying, Kaivalya. I have to get to the stage of Kaivalya, which is after Nebij Samadhi. So, we have about 8 or 10 minutes. If there is a related question, we can take it
So
now.
yeah. So what's the impact of Nishkam Karam if, to get the next life? Does it have any impact for the next life? What kind of life we are going to get?
Well, Nishkam Karma is, of course, very wonderful thing. Firstly, you are not adding new ledger entries.
Mm.
Secondly, you are making yourself eligible for better and better quality of life. So even in this life, you are in a very high category. That's what has inspired you to become out of the, in
Yeah.
the domain of Nishkam Karma. So probably next life you will be in such a family or with such a background that if you didn't go into this direction or not to the fullest extent in this life, then that will be, the next life will be carried forward from this point of view. So they are Patanjali is using the term like bhaupatya and Vidya, and I think there are two kinds of people he mentioned,
Mhm.
who are born with a kind of advantage in the meditation practices. You
Mhm.
know.
Okay. Mhm.
So like some of you know it. I take so much of effort to invite people to learn meditation, but not everybody is interested in it. There is always a very small class of people who are genuinely interested in such things. These are
Yeah,
This
I
is
have a
not everybody's
conflict.
cup of tea. So I
Yeah.
am very much aware of it. You know,
Mm.
People are
I
generally they like to know theoretical things, but practice of this. What I'm saying is going to lap of that. It's nice to talk about Ishwar and thing, but then that intimate relationship with him and trying to make a gradual progress in that direction by way of meditation. That is very, very demanding, you know, and very less fraction of people are interested in it. But, we should, that's the only way you transform your life, and that's how you can transform the world. Otherwise, I personally say, if you are not in this endeavor of trying to be in her lap, so to say, if you don't make an effort like this, then I will say you are like any other human being. And all the 7 billion people, they're almost like an orphan child. They don't relate to that supreme mother and father, is it not? So one may say, I am astic, I believe in Ishwar, and he can write long articles. but it has no meaning, unless you have intimate moments with her. It's just like there is a child in an orphanage that is well managed. He gets everything, food and education and all, but he doesn't have that intimacy with his mother, is it not? Or father, so to say. So that's what today's world is. Of course, from our point of view, we will divide the world into astic, nastic, some followers of this religion or that religion. But all that is kind of an entertainment. You know, Finally, it boils down to if you are truly connected to that supreme being or not. If you care to be with her or not. That is the only criteria. Otherwise, all that is bookish, all that is talk point. So it doesn't make a difference. That's why I think there was a question in this session why we are not able to propagate Vedic principles. So this is the primary reason. Those who profess to subscribe to Vedic principles, they don't demonstrate better quality of life than others, is it not? They are same as others, except that their talk points may be different. So these are tough issues, you know, and good things are not that easy. So one has to work very hard, you know. So talk and walk have to go together. So that is what is missing from most of us